What's up, ladies and gents? This is Casey Kid, coming at you with another Destiny video. Last night, I had a chance to do the Golgoroth Challenge. We did it. We killed him and we got the loot. So what I want to do today is show off our clip and talk about some of the strategies and things you need to do in order to complete this challenge. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, first things first, this particular video isn't going to be the fastest strategy out there. This was my first time doing it, and I was basically joining into a group of my clan members who already had gone through it a couple times. So, though I have some opinions on how I would like to do the challenge, I was basically just following their lead because they had successfully completed the challenge, and I was joining with them, so it didn't make any sense for me to jump in and be like, no, we gotta do things all my way. No, that's just not the way you do it. And if you happen to be an LFG type raid goer, that's something that you should keep in mind. Never jump into a party of a team already in action that's doing things and just try to make sweeping changes to their stuff, because that's probably gonna tick them off. Now, if things were going really bad for a really long time, you can of course make suggestions in order to do things a little bit better, but I never felt like we were awful in doing things. We just had a little bit of an issue early on doing a few things, and they ended up clearing all that stuff up on their own, so that's pretty nice. So as you can probably already tell, I'm not going to be in the pit. I am going to be the first gaze taker, so you're not going to get to see that sexy DPS stuff, but I am taking the gaze on Golgoroth. And gaze taking, that is what challenge mode is all about. Golgoroth Challenge Mode is that every time you're going to do a damage phase to Golgoroth, everybody, all 6 members of your team, have to take the gaze at least once. So you can't avoid it. If you have never taken the gaze before, it's basically standing out in the open as you can be, and just shooting at those orbs. Now, what we're doing though is we are running a sort of modified, muddled one-orb strategy that's really pretty safe. This is probably the strategy that you should use as far as going into Golgoroth, especially if you're with a team of people that, maybe you haven't played with entirely. Something like that. If you're a complete group that's gone through Golgoroth many times together, maybe you'll just go through the 6-orb strat. But it's really not a necessity. One orb works just fine, and you can see that those orbs are flying all over the place from Golgoroth's gaze. That's because everybody else, aside from me, that's taking the gaze is just running around the circle, not needing to actually hold Golgoroth's gaze for the entire time. Basically, every time Golgoroth's back opens up, where you can take a gaze new, after my time, you just go ahead and shoot him in the back and take his gaze and then just run. Run away from those orbs. They won't be able to track you if you're just making a huge sweeping loop around the circle. So why is that? Why are we doing it that way? Well, it's because the challenge mode for Golgoroth is only that everybody needs to have the gaze at least once every damage cycle. It's not that they need to hold it the entire time. So by shooting Golgoroth in the back, every new person, every time the back opens up, you're basically shaving off a little bit of time on the battle. And it runs a little bit long, as it is with this particular strategy, and the reason why is because honestly, we only have 4 damage dealers in the pit, so that's one entire person off of what the true one-orb strategy is. I'm at this front left corner, shooting Golgoroth and holding his gaze, and we have Blaze all the way in the back right corner, and she's basically sitting back there ready to take the gaze for the second time, instead of having somebody down in the pit and then jumping out of the pit with, I don't know, a handful of seconds left to go, running around finding Golgoroth's back and shooting him in the back. So this is a little bit safer for passing the gaze the second time, but it does hurt the DPS just a bit, because you do only truly have 4 people in the pit dealing damage. So honestly, you only have the same amount of people in the pit dealing damage as if you were doing an entire 6-orb strategy. So what I might do if I was a new team and adapting this, because again, you can adapt things to your own playstyle, what you could do is try to take Golgoroth's gaze twice, the first 2 times, and deal damage out those 2 times, and that could help out your DPS a bit, because you should probably be able to get Golgoroth down to closer to 50% after the first damage cycle if you do something like that. Now, in doing that, you would want 2 people that at least are relatively comfortable in taking the gaze, because you can't run around from the orbs because you need to have Golgoroth sitting in place. So you would need 2 people to do what I was doing in sitting wide in the open, right by where the orb of light bubble is, and just sit back there and shoot Golgoroth's little death orbs. And if you have 2 people that can take the gaze, I'd suggest probably at least trying it. The one other thing that I thought about doing, and that is more along the lines of a true one orb strategy, would be actually knocking down your orb and dealing all the damage to Golgoroth on the 6th gaze instead of the 1st gaze. And by doing that, what you could do is get yourself into position and then take 5 people down in the pit, and just like normal, everybody would set up with their weapons of light bubble, their tether, all that kind of good stuff. You would deal out all the damage the entire time down in the pit, all 5 people. And then that's truly like a one orb strategy as far as the DPS goes. So it's something to consider. The one thing you would have to do if you are actually doing it that method is making sure during the time of gaze passing through the first 5 members of your team, 1, that you are setting up in position where Golgoroth is going to face the correct direction you want in order to get that final gaze, and 2, make sure you're actually taking care of all the cursed thralls in the pit. And whenever Golgoroth's gaze is passing amongst everybody, you can see that it's really not anything difficult. You're basically just standing up here doing pretty much nothing anyway. So there should be no reason why you couldn't lean over and shoot at the cursed thralls in the pit and clear them out, because you really have nothing else that you have to worry about. Golgoroth isn't going to be shooting at you unless you happen to be the one person who has the gaze for a few seconds. So it's just another little thing you can do, and that's kind of the interesting thing. Even though this battle feels familiar, regardless of whatever strategy you're using, there are some little tweaks and nuances that you can do just to better suit your team however it is, whether it be playing safer or trying to be more aggressive and getting them down quicker. I would say that what we're doing as a group right here is playing it just about as safe as humanly possible. I don't think you can really get much safer. And you can see that in our 3rd cycle, Golgoroth has just a hairline of health left. I honestly thought that when the people were taking his gaze right here, all remaining 5 members of our team, I honestly thought Golgoroth was going to die on this because his health is so low. And you can see that just as soon as his back opens up, we have the next person in line taking the gaze and shooting it. So his back just opened up and boom, it's closed again. And it's not running for the full 15 seconds or anything. It's just the first few seconds that he kind of hides his back, and boom, there it is, it's taken again. And we're just waiting for that final one to run out in order to take Golgoroth's health down just at the end. Now here, since he has such a low health, I'm really not overly concerned about everybody getting in perfect position or anything. As soon as that first orb opens up, Golgoroth's back becomes available to me. I'm going to take my shot, I'm going to take him down. Just waiting for that final gaze to run out. And there it is. That is the 6th and final gaze. So we're just looking and getting ready to do the last little bit of damage. If you're really having trouble with this, chances are it's because your DPS in the pit isn't high enough. That's pretty much the problem that we were running into, but once we really kind of just made that known that, hey, focus on that DPS on the pit, the very next run that we did ended up being this one, and it worked out quite well. So DPS in the pit, if you've done Golgoroth before, done the one orb strat before, just focus on that. Your black spindles are going to work wonders. Again, make sure you're using your sniper rifle before using any of your primary ammo or anything like that. And you'll just be able to take Golgoroth down. He's really not too difficult. This challenge mode is trickier than the War Priest one for sure. It requires a lot more teamwork, and it's kind of fun. But it's not overly tricky and challenging where it's going to just absolutely demolish you. You just need to be paying attention, and everybody just needs to do their job. As you can see, I ended up getting the emblem, the little purple spider emblem, and some more artifacts. So more 320 artifacts and some gear. I got a pair of exotic boot engrams, and I got to teabag Golgoroth a little bit because he's a turd. He's a crab spider, of course. And it looks like I got a 311 chest and a 310 chest. So unfortunately, that 311 chest ended up being my hard loot drop. It only came at 311, but I did get the boots at 320, which is a huge upgrade for me. And that's pretty nice. Of course, again, more artifacts, 320 and 310. So it looks like you're going to be getting artifacts every time you do this challenge mode. And that's pretty nice, though. That is a lot of overkill 320 artifacts for sure. I guess they want to make sure that you have that artifact no matter what. because Oryx's challenge mode is coming up, and I think you can guess what we're going to have to do. Based on what we've seen, if it's anything other than multiple members of your team being the runner, I'll be shocked. And that is not going to be fun. I do not think Oryx's challenge mode is going to be fun at all with 4 different runners. Oh man. But this is Golgoroth. This is the easy, safe strategy for doing it. So I hope you end up knocking him out. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your challenge, and I'll see you around in Destiny. Those challenge orbs.